Hello, my name is Sean. I'm a professional 2D animator and prop designer from Dublin in sun setting at 2 p.m. Ireland, and I want to show you how I drew onto a tote bag using a white Posca marker. It was my first time doing it, but it was kind of easy and it turned out really cool. My friend Emily asked me to do it for her boyfriend, my friend Joe, for a Christmas gift, and this is how it turned out. I think it's really cool, and I want to show you how I did it. When Emily asked me to do it, it was the week or two before Christmas. I was really tired. I was really busy and I was kind of approaching burnout, honestly. I really needed the break. So I thought, okay, I wonder if I can like go back over some older stuff and rework something or repurpose something or use it as a jumping off point rather than using like what little bit of brain power I have left to try and come up with something, you know, entirely new in a really short space of time. And I had just drawn Kermit the Frog wearing like David Byrne's big suit from the Once in a Lifetime video that the Muppets did. And I just had so much fun drawing that, you know. I did it on a day off and I did it in one go, in one sit, and it was super effortless. I love Kermit the Frog with all of my heart. I love Talking Heads. It was a real good time. I thought it turned out great. I felt really good about it and I just thought, that would look cool on a tote bag. I want to draw this again. So I asked Emily, how does Joe feel about Kermit the Frog? She said he'd never mentioned him. Which is weird, honestly. He's just like a real special little guy. You're just not going to mention him, like, okay, weird. So I guess I wasn't going to do that then, so I continued to look through some old stuff. And I found this drawing I did a couple of years ago of like a tourist. I don't super love it. I think it's a fine drawing. Sometimes you're just drawing for the sake of drawing, right? Because it's a nice meditation. Not everything has to be a masterpiece. I think it's fine, but I gave her a little tote bag and I liked the design. It was a dinosaur on a skateboard. And I thought, okay, that's something. Let's go with that. Let's see if that works. I usually keep all the rough stages as I go, because I think they're interesting to see the progression and I can put them on my Patreon. So in this case, I had got the tote bag design saved before I had skewed it into place onto a bag. I tried to scale it up, but it just didn't quite work at that resolution. There just wasn't enough detail, you know, I'd drawn it too small. So I had to rework it and I just had to figure out kind of what do I want the eyes to look like, because they didn't look very good, and you know, do I want spots, stripes, what is going to look best kind of at this scale, you know. I was thinking kind of big, and so once I'd figured that out, I was really happy with it. And it's really nice. There's always a point in a drawing where, for me, like, I'm not sure about something until the like 85% complete mark a lot of the time, and then when I start to like see it, then I know like, oh, okay, I've got something here. And the problem with that is sometimes, you know, you have to get quite close to the end, obviously, before you know. And sometimes I literally finish a thing and then realize, oh, I don't like this. But in this case, I knew I had something that I liked, so I was excited about that. I was happy. So at this point, I have the design done, but I couldn't just go right onto the tote because I do not feel comfortable doing that. The way I work is like on paper, a super light pencil, and work it up slowly. If I'm digital, it's just a bunch of rough layers, like refining it each time. I just never draw straight because I don't feel comfortable and it never turns out right. So I don't have a printer here, and my lightbox was in my parents' house at the time, so what I did was trace it off my computer screen. I figured out the size that I want it to be in Photoshop and then dragged it over to the other window and traced it. And everything hurts when you get to a certain age. I'm 28 now, and that hurt. Just leaning over for a bit. It took like 10 minutes to trace. It's like a whole separate issue, but it's becomes more challenging just to exist the older you get. Oh, sorry. Oh my god, my body is tired. Really hurts to lean over like this for too long past the age of 23. So once it was traced, I flipped it over and sort of loosely traced the lines onto the back of the sheet too, which arguably I didn't have to do, but I did it anyway. Basically, the next step was to create sort of like a reverse etching, I guess. Maybe that's just an etching. I took the traced paper, put it down onto the tote bag, and ran a pencil over the back of it. What that did was like transfer the graphite from the page down onto the bag, and it created like a ghostly outline, you know what I mean? Like a rough layer, kind of. It's obviously hard to see in the clip I took because the light was not very good. And it looks a little bit grubby in the clip, but once you line it, that totally fades to the point where you can't see it. So it's just like a rough layer. It worked really well. I was not sure at that point if because once I lifted it up and it looked super grubby, I just thought, oh no, but I'm here now, so I have to do it. So then it was time to ink it, which is really scary before you start, but once you begin, it's totally fine. I'd never used a Posca marker before on a tote bag or anything else, so I was kind of messing with it on paper beforehand, and it was really blobby and liquid and fluid, and I thought, oh no, I thought that's how it was going to be on the bag, and I thought like, this is going to bleed and spread out, or it's going to leak, or I'm going to like lean on it and smudge it around. But the way it actually works on the bag is you just work kind of slowly and you build it up, and it's kind of faint, so you have to do a couple of layers, and you can really just take your time with it and be accurate, you know. So that was really enjoyable, actually. Like once I'd begun, realized, oh, this is fine. It was like totally cool. It took me like 15-20 minutes maybe to ink it. It might take someone else 5, but I'm like really slow and deliberate about that kind of thing. After I'd done the first coat, I noticed that some of the areas I'd done first were a little fainter than they were at the beginning. And then kind of 10 minutes later, it had all kind of settled a bit, and it looked like it had maybe sunk into the fabric a little bit, and it wasn't as vibrant as I wanted it to be. So the next day I did a second coat, and I just sort of hoped that it would build up rather than sinking into, and it totally did build up. And when I was done, it looked really vibrant and bright, and Joe messaged me and he said, thank you, it looks like it's been printed. That was cool to hear. In the end, it was really fun. I was pleasantly surprised with how it came out. I would absolutely do it again. It was easier than I expected. It was quicker than I expected. I just tried to have fun with it and relax a bit. You know, given how tired I was that week, there was like a pretty high likelihood that I would mess it up, but I just tried to not think about that and let that get to me. And in the end, I think it turned out great, and I would absolutely do it again. So like I said in the intro, I'd never done it before, but it was a lot easier than I expected. It was still scary because once you start, there's no going back. But I took my time and I planned it out, and in the end, it really wasn't that bad. So like one more time, that's how it turned out. I think it looks great. I can't wait to hear what Joe thinks of it. Thanks for watching.